Okay, we did it. We are live. Welcome, you beautiful people. Today's conversation, I have Max Ulek and Diana Shahal. Shahal. I was just getting her to help me before this live to pronounce it, and she gave me two ways, and I'm just thinking, I'm going to butcher it. That's just what's going to happen.
But you're not the only one. Nearly everyone is
that doesn't make me feel any better.
I like your version, Brendon. I like your version.
Well, but what was the first version you gave me? You gave me the Arabic.
Yes, yeah. So.
See, just I'm gonna need some time with that. Okay.
I'm fine with even Diana. Normally in German, it speaks Diana. So.
Oh, okay. So I got both of your names wrong. How are you both?
Amazing.
Okay, so you've had the bars. Now, what's a foundation? But I was pondering before this call, and what I would like to ask you both is, you came along, you found Access Consciousness. First of all, how was that for you? But then my second part to that is, why the hell did you want to go out there and facilitate it?
You have only 20 minutes.
Well, we already spent the first 5 minutes on me trying to get your name right. So yes.
Can I start? Or
you go for it, honey.
I found, or the bars found me like 10 years ago, and I was really in a bad healthy situation. I took medication for mental health, and I was really in depression. I couldn't work. And I tried so many other things 4 years ago, and then I discovered the bars. Someone hold me only the implant band, just one point, and the first time after years, I felt my body was the first time relaxing. I was so under tension, under pressure over years. So even all the medication couldn't really change it. And 5 minutes of the implant band, and the first time after years, oh, that's that's relaxation. Oh, that's how the body feels when it's relaxed. Oh, it was such a real in my life. And I don't know if you have already dealt with a person in depression. They are not able to move a lot. It's sometimes really hard to get out of bed or to leave the house. And yes, there was a bars class only 5 kilometers away from my house 4 days later. So it was made for me. The universe has always your back, and that was the beginning. And then I got my first bars class, and I found someone where I could really exchange bars in regular basis. Since then, we are doing that nearly every week. And it changed so much in my life, and so fast. I get healthy, and then I will come later on when we are talking about foundation. I decided to teach bars classes because I want everyone to have this tool, because when it helps me, it can help everyone. So that's why my first steps into the bars, and how it says also in the bars class, the worst case, it changed your whole life, and it did.
Yeah, that's one of the things I love about talking. I've talked about my story so much, but talking with other facilitators as well, like, it's not, I mean, like you said, Access found you, the bars found you, but also the way that it just is. It's like, it's something where truly what it takes for you to change your life is to show up. That's it. And it's like, because there's, man, I spent my life working at change, working my ass off it. But everything was about, okay, what else is wrong with me? Okay, what else is wrong with me? Okay, what else is wrong with me? And this, like, I love the way that you just put that of, you know, you got 5 minutes of the implant band and boom, the door opens, you know. And that's also, it's not saying that, oh, okay, everything's changed and everything's wonderful. And, you know, and then just, you know, it is, you know, there's a lot of choices to make after that, but what a beautiful gift.
Interesting. Yes. And I'm super grateful every day since then.
Wow.
I love that.
Yeah. I love hearing other facilitator stories, or other people's stories. Like, I had no idea, Diana. I've known you for a number of years now, and I had no idea about this particular thing. It's so cool. Yeah. And for me, mine's not that interesting. Really. Like, I had my bars run by a friend whose friend, you know, was facilitating access consciousness. So he was finding out about it, and he goes, oh, can I run your bars? Because he did a bars class. And I went, okay. And for 10 years, I did all sorts of different things, you know, and was always into different self-help type of stuff and trying to find out what's wrong with me. As Brendon mentioned earlier, I was always looking for what's wrong with me and how do I get it right? And the first bars session, I fell asleep. I didn't notice anything dynamic shift, and sort of just went about my life after that. And 6 months later, Simone Millicis and Stephen Outram and Liam Phillips and a bunch of other, Chris Hughes, a number of other Access people were doing some events on the Sunshine Coast, which was about 25 minutes from me. Just intro events, evenings, every couple of weeks. And I went to these and I was just like, huh, this is different. And from there did a bars class, foundation class. At the time it was, foundation level 1 and then level 2 and 3, which was the CFP at the time, the choice 4 possibilities, which is sort of just like the more advanced classes. And it was so different to anything else I'd ever discovered. They were talking about judgment, which no one I knew about had ever spoken about and said so clearly. I was like, oh yeah, that's totally a thing. But I was just functioning from it and never being able to identify it. And choice, like no one else had ever mentioned choice. So for me, it was like revolutionary. And yeah, basically went from there. So it wasn't, yeah, I think I'm a little bit slow in getting.
You know, I want to say with this, I'm really grateful you brought that part up, because there is, like, you'll hear a lot of people talk about the bars. I'm one of them. I'm one of the people who came along to, you know, I got my first bars session. It changed my whole world. I know, like, I look back on that, I know that was the turning point in my life, or one of them. But it's like, but there's also a lot of people who will go, you know, like, I fell asleep and it was really relaxing, and then these changes come along that may not necessarily correlate with that bars session. But I want to say to that as well, we're all so unique. And I got to say with you, Max, one of the things I admire about you, and one of the things I truly admire about you as I've watched you over the years, is you keep going, you know. And it's like, and because, man, one of the things I know is looking at your own shit is really uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it is. And to have the balls, to have the courage to have that be not only something that's uncomfortable for yourself to look at, but it's uncomfortable for it to be, you know, a public thing.
Totally.
You know, it's like, dude, man, hats off to you.
Well, you definitely know what it's like. So yeah, I get that. Yeah, I would call it courage. And at the same time, I know it's a lot of other things as well, because at the time, nothing about it feels courageous.
Yeah,
it's sort of like,
with you.
Sometimes it's like, well, how do I survive? Like, how do I put the next step forward? And then sometimes it's like, fuck yes. Like, there's no doubt you're moving forward.
Yeah.
And it's just such a mixed bag. But the thing that I've really gotten from Access Consciousness and from Gary, who really like spearheads this, is just choose. It's just another choice. There is, and eventually, and finally, and I continue to get this, but eventually I got this thing of like, it doesn't have to be right. It actually can't be wrong. Like there's no such thing. Judgment is really, it's just a concept. If you look at nature, nothing judges. Everything just goes on and like creates, essentially. So when I get into the funk of judgment and make it more real than it is, I'm like, cool, okay, so what can I choose here? I've eventually learned to ask a question and recognize that there is so many choices, and what can I choose in this moment? It's so different to what you see out in the world, and it's such a gift.
So beautiful.
And I'll just add, like, that is a result of the bars and the foundation of like these tools that we get in this completely different energy. Like you guys, for example, being here so present, you know, and just being here. You know, there's no agenda, it's so rare in the world to have people that are willing to be, and it's such a gift.
Yeah,
such a gift.
Truly. Hey, you know, also like that thing with the bars of, you know, one of the main, you know, targets with the bars is to teach you how to receive, you know, and it's like, and so it's like you come along to a session, it's like a session is, you know, hour and a half. It's like, okay, lay down and let me touch these 32 points on your head. And, you know, it's about receiving. You're like, you know, if you've spent your life where receiving has been the opposite of what's been going on, it's like that also, like there's a lot of people who are a lot more intellectual with the way that they need to receive a concept or receive something that may contribute to them. And that's why, like, I've talked to so many people who it was just like the bars were, you know, I love the bars because they relaxed me, but I really thrive on the processing, you know, or I really love coming to a live class and being in that energy, or I really like, you know, being on with Gary, you know. So that's the part where it's also, access is so encompassing and inclusive of where do you want to go with this? It's not here, this is the path we're taking. It's here's us. Hi, you know. And that was the question as well, with like, what made you guys desire to actually facilitate this? Like, I know for myself, my first CF class was in Noosa, Australia. Certified Facilitators class was in Noosa, Australia. I think 14 years ago. And it was just, I came along to that class because Gary Douglas was facilitating it, and I love him, you know. And it's like, but I was like, no way in the world I'm facilitating that. Like, you guys are nuts, you know. I'm not going to be that weird.
No. And so for me, it was absolutely not in my world. Facilitating foundation, even to become a CF with all the classes and all the telecode. I remember when I chose my first foundation class, I was in sick days about 8-9 months. So in Germany, when you are as long sick, you are getting only 65% of your income, of your salary, and it's not really a lot of money. And there was I had my bars class, and then okay, I played with the tools for 3-4 months. Who does it belong to was really a game changer for me. I was not in this mode with receiving or choice. I didn't got this concept, but who does it belong to was to really to perceive that all the shit what's going on in my body and with me and all the crazy thoughts are not even mine. That was for me the first thing, but really bam, hit my world with the access bars. And it's also the very first tool we are getting in the bars manual. So, and my first foundation choice was my last savings. It was really the last money I had. And I don't know, really to go to the foundation class with a question. When I took this foundation class, how will be my life in 5, 10, 50 years? And I chose it. And
how long ago was that you took your first foundation class?
Pardon?
How long ago was it when you took your first?
October 2016.
Wow.
10 years.
So 10 years. So
yeah.
Yes, that was my first foundation class, and I'm now in my 5th CF training was it, and I choose to become a CF not because of the foundation class, honestly, because of the Joy of Business classes, because of business done different. Because in the COVID time, the BDD changed my whole business. Where everything was shutting down, I got my first BDD class, and I created with these tools my whole business, my access business, my translation business, everything around, where everything was shutting down. So I thrived, my business thrived, and I said, okay, I want to facilitate these tools, so I have to become a CF. So let's go.
I love that. Hey, I'm really glad you brought the money part into it, because there's a lot of people who can find the perfect reason and justification to reject a class like the foundation class and go, well, I can go and get Who Does It Belong To on a YouTube video. I can go and get these tools on on an Instagram video. I can go and get, I get that totally. This is where you got to go. If you're watching this, you got to go with what makes you lighter. But for me, the thing with, and I have no way of putting this cognitively into how this works. But for me, doing a foundation class with the way that energetically, the way that class works, there's nothing like it.
Yes, you can touch in every topic of your life, and for me, foundation, what I'm really perceiving, it's always the distractor implants. It's really what for people. So even for people who are coming the first time to a foundation class, for me, it was also the game changer, like in the BAS class, Who Does It Belongs To? Only with this tool, you can change so much in your life. And it's
That's
only
really
one
cool. Yeah.
100 of tools of a foundation class.
I agree with you on that one. Could the world use a bit more of that?
Yes.
There's definitely no fear in the world, or or doubt. There's no anger. There's definitely none of that going on, or shame, or there's definitely no one out there blaming anyone else for what's going on. So I'm just saying, there you go.
And even I want to just add, even besides the tools with the foundation class, you get to like really take a deep dive where you don't even know what's going to show up or come up. You get to have like a real exploration of your universe.
Yeah, that's true.
From a place of no judgment, and from questions, not like you should or you have to, or all this sort of stuff, of the questions of what would you actually like, what's true for you, and then some tools to really find that. But it's like the 4 days or 3.5 days really allow you to go on a deep dive that you wouldn't really have
and it's
any other time in life.
Yes, and it's no matter if it's your first class or the 20th class. And with all people in one group, and it's changing every time for everyone. So
yeah. Well, even that question that Max just brought up of like, what is it that you would truly like? What's true for you? It's totally okay for that question to hit you like because it's still like, that's such a, if I look back on what it is that I was asking to change and be when I took my first foundation class, it's completely different to what it is now, and it's like, and this is where, for me, what has become so much easier is I get to meet myself where I'm at in each moment. It's not about, okay, how do I get to this far off version of, because that's all the judgment. It's okay, here I am, this is what's coming up, this is what's going on. And it's like, and you get to be present and move from there.
Yes.
I think that's such a key, is no matter where you're at, you can go where you want to go. And it's like, if you take the time out of it, if you take the money out of it, like all these like limitations that we usually use of like what's possible, what if we took that out of it and just asked the question, and then include all the stuff that is horrible and shit about you, include all the things that are amazing about you, and be like, cool, what's possible from here?
Yeah.
Because even so many years into when I began Access, I would still try and like get rid of things that I was judging about myself, and like not be things, and then like really find out what is the right thing to be now in this new structure that I've created.
Yeah.
Not to be, you know, the new rightness. And then it took me quite a few years to realize, oh, I'm doing the same thing I was doing beforehand, just with a different set of rules that I was applying to myself, when I really don't have to function from that whole thing, the whole judgment thing.
Well,
for me, a big part of it was also to including the body in all the change, in all the transformation. I was in psychotherapy about years and years and years, and always it's getting a little bit better. And then you have a flashback and you are even a deeper black hole than even before. And it's when I started, or I heard the first time about the body has its own awareness, and you have to include your body. It was really such a new information for me. And when I started really to create with my body, to speak with my body, to be in communion with my body, and the foundation was one of the first steps going into the body process and so on. And this changed also a lot. So for me, it's also a big difference between all the psychoanalysts, psychotherapists who are out there. I also have great tools. I had a really good therapist when I was ill, but it was always missing something. And I found it really in the foundation tools and the body processes.
that's awesome. You know, one of the things I love too about having these conversations and talking with the Access facilitators is we're all different, you know, but we're all, you know, we're all us. We're all uniquely, like Max said, you know, you can come along and there's your good stuff, there's your bad, there's just all of it. It's like, I mean, I'm an Access consciousness facilitator. I'm a recovering alcoholic. You know, I've chosen so much stupid shit in my life. I've done, you know, I've lived, you know, and it's like, and I've chosen, and it's like, and I love having these conversations where it's like, we are not going, hey, we have the answer, come and we want to facilitate you so you can have this perfect version of yourself. It's like, fuck that. I see the perfection in all of the mistakes that each and every one of us makes. And it's so interesting how we create these points of view about ourselves, these versions of ourselves, the way that we see ourselves that others don't see anyway. You know, they're like, who the fuck are you looking at? You know, and it's like, so my question, you know, for everyone is it's like, what if you're far greater than you can ever imagine? What if this whole thing of, I can't get my life to work, I can't seem to change this, what if that's so far from the truth that if you actually allowed yourself to step into it and just go, okay, I'm gonna be present, and starting with that, like I remember Gary Douglas, him and Dane were facilitating this class. I can't even remember the title of it. It was a few years ago at the ranch, and he finished the class with, if you want to get present, if you want to change the world, get present. And he finished the class like that. And I was like, you know, it was one of those things where I went, oh, it really put into perspective how much that is not something that is that present in the world, being present. So I don't know if any of that, you know, helps anyone, but it's like, what if it really is, your greatest wrongness is your greatest strongness.
And you are not so fucked up as you think you are.
Yeah, you're not as fucked up as you think you are. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And you definitely get that when you get it, not as a concept beforehand.
Totally, definitely. So thank you both. having this conversation with me. I'm very grateful.
Thank you,
And
Brendon, for the invitation.
Yeah,
thank you. For anyone listening, so foundation class, there is facilitators all around the world facilitating this class, and find someone that pops for you, where that energy is like, oh, that person, And I also want to mention we have the global foundation class that's coming up in just over a month. This is with Gary Douglas and Dane here. This is an annual event where basically it is the foundation of foundations, and check that out too if that sounds like fun.
And there's a global bars class the day before the global foundation. So
thank you.
You can do that from anywhere in the world too. That particular bars class, if you have someone with you, where you can exchange the bars.
Yep. Thank you for that one. Yep. Awesome.
Cool. Thank you.
All right,
guys.
you beautiful gifts. Thank you so much. And what else is possible?
Totally.
Okay, bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, guys.